Hello, my lovely audience. But welcome to another video. Welcome to What If Deku was the inheritor of Arrogante. Now then, first little thing, got this idea based off one of the suggestions I got. Someone asked if I could do What If Deku was the inheritor of Null, creative symbiotes, but couldn't really get a way for that to work, so it kind of just became this. Arrogante. Chills every time. Now then, yes, let's get on with the what if. Now, in this what if, Deku would have been born into the Shigemura family. Anyway, I believe Shigaraki was like 18 when Deku was 16, and so thus, yeah. Once again, I'm not 100% sure on that one. I tend to kind of not check. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't check character, like ages, but I read as much of the descriptions of them as I can. Like, I read the most useless fluff and lore in games and media, but I don't bother with actually learning any of the characters' names. Don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, yes. And well, due to the dreaded day that Shigaraki gets his quirk, Deku would survive and become an orphan. He would also lack an entire arm. Yeah, kinda really couldn't get out of that unscathed. And also, in this what if, Deku would be adopted by Inko. Inko and Hisashi would have a child. Deku would have gray hair. Yeah. So, yeah, Deku would have gray hair, and he would be the adopted child of the Midoriya family. Inko and Hisashi would have a child by the name of Izumi. Yes, this is one of those what ifs. Bakugo's still an asshole, still bullies him. He would be bullied even harder in this what if, because not only is he quirkless, but he's also a cripple. That was a terrible joke, and I'm sorry, but I couldn't help myself. So Bakugo just really pulls an All Might and goes beyond plus ultra here. Anyway, so yes. Izuku is walking under the bridge, thinking about Bakugo and how he told him how to off himself, as the sludge villain would jump out and begin suffocating him, begin choking him. Deku would quickly pass out. Now, throughout Deku's life, he would be having dreams. Dreams of decay and destruction. Some are callbacks to when Shigaraki's quirk awakened, but others, not so much. Some are of a city just destroyed, the sun dying. Others of an infinite desert, one that never seems to see the light of day, one with a shining moon and dead trees and mysterious pillars. As Deku would wake up, he would wake up in the destroyed city from his dreams, as he would hear a voice. I don't know, we don't get told that much information about the Sparta and their soul spirits, so I'm kind of just making my own, just doing my own thing. I don't really yeah, there's not that much information on them, so I'm just kind of doing my own thing. As he would hear a gentle, kind, rather feminine voice say, Izuku Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya. It's so wonderful to finally meet you after all this time, Izuku Midoriya. Deku would look around, not knowing what the hell's going on, and he would look behind himself and see an axe. And he would hear the voice again. Hello there, Izuku Midoriya. I am sorry. I am truly sorry, Izuku. The voice would sound quite upset as Izuku would ask, in a questioning voice, why are you the... Why would... The voice would pitch in again, giggling. You're always so cute when you're questioning things and putting on that thinking face. And I'm sorry that I could not have been there to protect that cute face, to protect that smile, to protect that dream of being a hero, or to even protect your arm. And I am truly and sincerely sorry for that. I'm sorry for never being there. Whilst I may have been asleep all this time, I have been having dreams of you and your life, dreams of you thinking about all the possibilities of quirks, dreams of you dreaming of being a hero, all of these things that I have held dear throughout my long rest, I was unable to protect. So I am truly sorry, Izuku Midoriya. However, I wish to make up for that mistake. I wish to make up for my absence. Please, Izuku Midoriya, wield me to accomplish your dreams. I wish to see you go through your journey. I wish to see you smile again like you used to. So please, show me your dreams. That last bit would have a bit of an echo, as Deku would walk up to the axe. He would grab the axe. As we cut to the real world, his body has gone fully limp, as All Might would burst out of the sewer grate. Well, but he would begin getting a sinister vibe, as the sludge villain would turn and look at him before saying, "Come any closer and I'm killing the kid. Back off," the creature would say, backing up. And All Might would begin feeling this feeling of uneasiness, as One for All would spark up, almost as if the past users of One for All are just telling him to get away, to back off. Like, you know how One for All technically has the DNA of all past users in it, and how, in the current arc, Deku has gained access to all One for All users? Well, all quirks of One for All. Yeah, All Might's getting such a fight-or-flight response that the quirk Danger Sense is quite literally going off. Yes, the quirk Danger Sense is going off from like a hair. That is the level of sinister that's coming out. As well, Sludge Villain would move away from Deku's mouth, attempting to use him as a hostage to escape, considering he couldn't fully take over the body fast enough. But that's when his hands would twitch, as his hands would clutch something, and something would begin forming and coming together out of seemingly nothing, as he would say the words, "Rot, arrogante." The sludge villain would begin covering Deku up, like, "Shut up!" Trying to cover him up so he can't use his quirk to try and escape, as this purple mist would begin to envelop the two of them. As the sludge villain would begin experiencing pain, it would begin screaming, it would try and back off, escape, but all the sludge would be reduced to nothing, leaving only water. Fun fact, water doesn't technically age, and it's existed for thousands of years and will exist for thousands more, so technically it should not be affected by the Respirer. Yeah. As Deku would take a step out of the purple mist, the cement under him being eviscerated and decaying into nothing. As this would emerge from the purple mist, it fully forming into a regal-looking cloak. As the thing would step forwards, All Might would begin backing off, until the creature would fall into the pit, fall over into the pit, as its skin would begin regenerating, along with the arm already technically grew back. There was bone there now. Yeah. The skeleton has returned, and now the flesh is returning of his missing arm. He has 2 arms now again. As he's landed face first into the concrete, all tension All Might was feeling just kind of disappeared when he fell face first into his own hole. He would just kind of crawl up "You dead?" Or, "No, I'm not dead. Ugh, fuck, what happened?" Deku would say, realizing that his voice kind of sounds deeper than usual. He would take a look at his body and his legs, realizing that not only has he gotten slightly taller, all of his scars, permanent injuries, and his arm have been fully restored. As, at the show of Deku just checking himself out, he would hear giggling from the axe, as the axe would say, "No matter what you do, you always seem to be so adorable." Deku would look at the axe, puffy-cheeked, and say, What? No, not everything." This would only cause the axe to laugh more. All Might, unable to hear anything, would just kind of be there, crouched, confused, as, the axe would say, "Well, you seem to have adjusted to me quite well. That's one thing I've always liked about you. When it comes to quirks, you are certainly reliable." Yes, that's a nice word. Reliable. Deku would sigh and say, "Look, I ain't taking it as well as you think," would say, walking over to the axe, picking it up and hoisting it over his shoulder, realizing that it feels quite light, even though it's a giant fucking axe. He would look at All Might before, he would pause he would say, "Hi." He would begin trying to walk out the crater the other way. He would stop, his brain would begin computing what happened, and he would begin, like, geeking out, like, oh my goodness, it's All Might. Oh, it's All Might. I got my quirk, and I just met All Might. Is this a dream? He would say to the axe. All Might, unable to hear anything, would just see an awkward silence as Deku would pick the axe up and hit his face against it, as he would say, nope, not a dream. As he would quickly run and crawl out of the pit and, like, fanboy over All Might. All Might, having no clue what's going on, he just goes along with it, gives Deku his autograph, and gets the fuck out of there. He ain't dealing with this. Or whatever he did to the sludge villain. Deku would sigh quite, satisfied with how things are going, as he would hear the axe speak again. Dear Izuku, I have but one thing to say to you, for the time being. He would look back at the axe and ask, yes, arrogante? The axe would then say, oh, yes, I think you should put me in charge of your closet, because a shirt that says the word shirt on it is not quite the most fashionable. Plus, you've grown a couple of feet, so... Deku would check his, height before saying, well, hot damn. And what do you mean it's not fashionable? I think it looks great. Inko says it looks great. Yeah, but she would say you look great if you were to walk around in trash bags. That woman's too nice. Deku would pout as the axe would laugh again, commenting about just how cute Izuku is. Deku would walk up to the axe, picking it up, arrogante. I'm going to refer to it as refer to her as arrogante from now on. He would walk up and pick up arrogante before asking, why do you keep on commenting about how cute I am? I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm just curious. Arrogante would respond with, oh yes, well, as we both know, I have been unable to communicate with you for quite some time now, and I have always found you quite adorable throughout your little misfit adventures, so I wish to comment about it as much as I can now. Don't know when I'm gonna have to end up shutting up again. That Arrogante would chuckle, and so would Deku. As the two of them would walk off into the sunset. Time skip. Deku has begun training his body, and, getting better looking clothes under guise of Arrogante. Let's just say the people in the clothing stores were quite confused when he was asking a giant fucking axe for its opinion on shirts. But yes, he would be doing such things, making himself more physically endowed, physically strong, because, he doesn't want to. If he wants to be a hero, he doesn't exactly want to turn every single villain he faces into a pile of dust. And also cause massive amounts of property damage whilst he's at it. We cut to Aizawa, who just sneezes. He just sneezes as a sign of the trouble to come, as he would just, in his sleeping bag, would just silently say to himself, oh, I'm fucked. Give me a moment. Yeah. Now, the most important thing I'm gonna say here is that Deku has been getting closer with Arrogante. Now, in Bleach, essentially in Bleach, at least with Soul Reapers, the closer they are with their soul spirits, typically the more powerful they are, because, yeah, think like Ichigo. He refused true Zangetsu and embraced old man Zangetsu, who was actively lying to him and stealing his powers. So thus, Ichigo could only use Getsuga Tencho, because his relationship with his soul spirits were very poor. Now let's take someone like, I don't know, Yamamoto. We don't see him really talking to his soul spirit that much, but we can guess that they are quite close. My brain is drawing a blank on literally Kitsuke. Yeah, Kitsuke. As we all know, he has a variety of attacks. Not all of which being, like, one's exclusive to his sword, but still. He has a variety of attacks. You wanna know why? He is close to his soul spirit. So, similar rules will apply to Deku. After the 3rd month, he would eventually gain the ability to control Respira, to control where his Respira goes and how it moves. After 5 months, he would gain the ability to produce Respira from his axe in his normal state, allowing him to just kind of let out small amounts of decay and destruction. And after the full 9 months, he's been, like, just going to the gym. He's just been going to the gym. All Might has chosen, like, Uraraka as his successor. But yes, with Izuku, after 9 months of getting closer with Arrogante, she can take on a somewhat physical form now. What do I mean by that? So before, Arrogante was just an axe, both in the souls, in Deku's mindscape essentially, and in the real world. After the 5 months in Deku's mindscape, she gained a form. She gained, like, proper, form, proper soul spirit form. And after the 9 months, she essentially gained the ability to pull a Zabimaru. Oh, now I remember them. Yeah, Renji and Zabimaru. She essentially gained the ability to do what Zabimaru occasionally does with Renji and physically show itself in the world. Yeah. But she ain't a monkey with a snake tail. That's for sure. She's a pretty attractive. Get it? Pretty attractive. She's a pretty attractive, regal-looking female. But put an emphasis on regal-looking. She's quite queen-like. She even has a crown. Silver hair, red eyes. Well, not silver hair, more white hair. Like arrogant. White hair, red eyes. This cloak. Just this giant fucking cloak. It's shrunken down, to be less mattress. But yeah, still has the cloak. Anyway, so yes. UA entrance exam. Deku turns up with this giant fucking axe. People are looking at him like, is that his quirk, or is his quirk super strength, or is he just buff? That's just what they're thinking as he's walking by with a giant fucking axe. It's Izuku, so he naturally aces the written exam. And, well, when he sits down with his giant axe. Barragan is like a 6'9" guy. Actually, I don't know his height, but he's in, like, the 6-foot range, and he be beefy, and this thing is, like, the size of him. I'm surprised Deku can even walk through doors. I'm pretty sure Barragan can't even fit through doors. Now he's walking around with something that's this sized to a man like Berrigan. Like, really? And this is like muscular Zuko. You know, he's muscular, but not this beef. So he's walking with something like triple his size. He sits down next. Bakugo comes in. He has absolutely nothing to say. Like, he can't say anything. He just saw Zuko walk in with an axe triple his size and presumably 4 times his weight, with his arm intact. Like, Bakugo is just kind of staring at him the entire time, unable to say jack shit. Just too confused. Yeah. Anyway, Ida asks his dumbass question, rotates like 360 degrees. Like, his legs don't rotate, but his stomach does. Like, he just robots to face Deku, who's actively chatting with his axe, which is confusing Bakugo even more. He's chatting with the giant axe. Ida would just look at him and say, "You, first of all, said weapons like that are not allowed in the UA entrance exam unless you have made them yourself. So please get rid of the giant fuck-off axe. Second of all, stop murmuring or talking to yourself. It is quite rude. There are people here trying to listen to present Mike." Like, Ida would just begin yelling that. Deku would just get up and point the giant axe at Ida before saying, arrogante. Why do I keep on referring it to the giant fuck-off axe? Because it's a giant fucking axe. That's why. He would point the giant axe at, Ida and say, first of all, the axe is my quirk. Second of all, you are the one who's yelling. Third of all, earlier you asked President Mike about the 4th robot and you didn't possibly consider the possibility that he was getting to that, so you actively disrespected a teacher. And fourth of all, you're being louder than I am. And you're actively, distracting people. I mean, look at Kachan. Look at Bakugo over there. He's distracted as fuck. Like, Bakugo's just spaced out, attempting to compute everything he just heard. Like, Bakugo's entire life has just been flipped on its head. He's just there, spaced out, staring into existence. It's either that or he's high. But please quiet down, you blue-haired Sonic knockoff. Arrogante would just begin laughing at this. Like, just begin laughing her ass off at Deku's statement. Just like, Sonic knockoff. Couldn't have said it better myself. Like, really. How he's moving, he's not even a Sonic knockoff. He's the knockoff of the knockoff. He's the knockoff Metal Sonic. And Metal Sonic's the knockoff Sonic. So he's the knockoff of the knockoff. Arrogante would begin laughing even harder at this, as Bakugo, who finally snapped back to reality, would hear this and would begin laughing himself. Just like, oh, I like the new Izuku. I like the new Izuku. The two of them would just begin laughing, as Izumi, who's like in the 5th row at the back, would also just begin laughing, as in unison, even present Mike, everyone at the building would begin laughing at Ida, as they would just point their fingers and yell, "Shame! Shame! Shame!" as Ida would sit down, like, dejected, sad face. Well, Deku didn't point and yell shame. Everyone except for Deku pointed and yelled shame. Even Present Mike. Deku just kind of sat down and waited for everyone to calm down, whilst still laughing. But that doesn't mean Arrogante wasn't yelling shame. Anyway, so yes. Entrance exam would begin, Deku would run out, yada yada yada. Instead of running around like an idiot this time, he would begin actually hitting the robots with his giant fucking axe. Him slamming the robots with the axe, and releasing a bit of Respira on them, turning them to nothing. He would begin racking up points like a fucking psycho. Yeah. No, not your Erica. She's in a different area. Who should be Rico. Yes. Rico from Class 1B, that phantom girl who uses high language and is quite well endowed in terms of etiquette, unlike certain people. Looking at you, Daryl. That was a joke. I don't have anything against any of my fans named Daryl. That was just a joke. But yes, that girl. Deku, seeing she's about to get crushed, would just chuck the axe at the 0-pointer. Now, why Rico wasn't, using her quirk? It's because her hands were also being crushed. Yes. Pain without love. Like, she's just in too much pain to really think properly. Like, it only comes to her after the axe has slammed into the 0-pointer's head and flies through it, releasing a large amount of Respira, causing the robot to stagger backwards, as its head would begin getting rotted and decayed, as the 0-pointer would kind of just fall back, the axe having fully went through its head, and landing somewhere obscure. Deku would just raise his hand and call it back like Mjolnir. He would call it back like Stormbreaker. One of the people there would just yell, "Ah, my leg!" As Deku would go, "My leg fish, you're here?" Sorry, I just had to make that joke. Sorry. I just couldn't resist. Apologies. As Deku would walk up to, Rico, kneel down, just kind of use Arrogante to just kind of, wedge the cement off of her. And it's only at this moment that she realized she could have used her quirk to get the cement off herself, as she would internally facepalm herself. As Deku would just kind of pick her up and ask, "You okay?" "Yes, I am quite, only my legs. My legs are currently in a form of distress along with my hands, but I will survive." As, Arrogante in the background would just begin laughing. Like, "Oh my goodness, she has high etiquette. I think you should marry her." Deku would just kind of look back at the Arrogante like, what did you say?" The axe would begin laughing even harder. Rico would kind of tilt her head at this before Deku would snap back to reality and say, "Oh yeah. The axe is my quirk and it bears sentience. So, yeah. So I guess it most likely made an inappropriate comment." The Arrogante would begin laughing even harder. As Deku would say, "Yeah, something like that. Also, it's a she." "Oh, apologies. Just like the axe would be Arrogante would be laughing its ass off, like, she's so formal to her savior, she's perfect. Yeah, Deku would just kind of casually carry her to, recovery girl, hand her off, raise his hand. The axe would return to him like Mjolnir. He would put the axe on his shoulder and just casually walk away. So, yeah. First day of UA. Yeah, I think I did pretty good with the singing there. Deku's first day of UA. Let's get into this, because I had something I wanted to plan out. Why do I keep on singing? I don't know. It's like 1 in the morning, I'm going insane. Yeah, so Deku would, just kind of enter the classroom, look at Ida. Ida would look at him. They would just kind of share a glance before Deku would say, "Hi, knock off Metal Sonic." As Hello Darkness, My Old Friend would begin playing, as Ida would dejectedly just kind of slump over, Bakugo would just begin laughing. As, Deku would just kind of take a seat, talk to the axe like a fucking weirdo. As, people are kind of side-eyeing him. He would just kind of pay them no mind, but Arrogante is kind of, pissed, like, I do not think that strictly because he's talking to me that he's a weirdo. You do realize they can't hear you when you're an axe, right? Arrogante would kind of pause for a second, as a purple mist would begin forming around the axe, as he would say, "No, no, no." The purple mist would begin dissipating as, the axe and its eye would just kind of be looking around, making mental notes of assholes. Anyway, yeah. A couple minutes later, Aizawa walks in, da-da-da. Ball throw, da-da-da. Now, locker rooms. Deku would just kind of, before he enters, he would just kind of look at Arrogante and ask, shouldn't I drop you in, the girls' locker room, or... No, I'm quite fine with being with you. I think I'd like to see a couple muscular men. Really stretch out, as you would say. Deku would look at Arrogante like, you perv. The axe would just giggle at this. Your flustered face is always so cute, which is why it turns me on so much. Deku would say, what? The Arrogante would say, what? They would just sort of look at each other for a few seconds, as Deku would just say, you know what? Not gonna question that. As he would just walk into the area, walk in with everyone, and, as he's getting dressed, Kirishima would compliment Deku about his workout routine. Deku, with an actual workout routine, would give Bakugo one. He ain't no Berrigan, but he's on his way. Just wait until he's 40. Joke. Not a joke. He will be, this is all muscle, I'm pretty sure. Just beef and muscle. He'll be a Berrigan by the time he's 30 to 20, depending on your headcanon. Anyway, so yeah. Mayonetta would be peeping, as Deku would just kind of look at him like, you fuck. As the axe would look at him like, you fuck. Arrogante. As Deku would bonk Mayonetta on the head with Arrogante. Not the sharp bit, the flat bit. Yeah, the flat bit. No, the spiked bit. He would bonk him with the spike bit. spiked a bit. Like, blood would begin to stream out. Like, forgot that, like the blood would begin to stream out like one of those fountains that just kind of has that water flow show type thing. There would be an opera singer as as ha 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 as blood streaming out of Mayonetta's head as he would just fall over. You can hear Jiro on the other side of the wall laughing. As Deku would plug up the peephole with just like a random piece of paper, as he would say, "No peeping." Mayonetta would quickly get up, like, "Why? Why, your fellow man? Why?" Deku would say, "Well, he would just kind of gesture at the axe. No one would understand what he means by that, as he would just continue like nothing happened. Ball throw. Deku would get, same as canon. No, not same as canon. Like, let's say half of what he got in canon. Squat, side jumps, all normal. Yeah. Sprint, he just kind of disappears and reappears like flash step style. I know Arankas and Espada and Hollows don't use flash steps, but I can't remember the name of what they do use because it's 1 in the morning. Yeah. We just kind of flash step. Once again, Ida would be dejected. He would just kind of be dejected, like dejectedly leaning over. "Hello, darkness, my old friend. We come to meet yet again." Okay, a few days of Deku being in the hero course. He would kind of just be sitting alone, eating his food casually. He's like having rice and pork. As he would ask a question to Arrogante. Arrogante? Yes, Izuku? Arrogante would respond with, "I have a question. Can you eat? Should I be getting you food?" Arrogante would say dejectedly, "No, unfortunately, I am somewhat incapable of interacting with most physical objects, even in my human form." Izuku would ask another question. "What if I were to feed you?" Arrogante would just kind of pause for a couple of seconds and say, "It's worth a shot." This purple mist would begin steeping around the axe as it would spiral upwards and around, revealing, just... Okay, brain.exe stopped. Revealing white-haired, red-eyed, crown-wearing, relatively attractive, cloak-wearing Arrogante. Just Arrogante and a cloak and crown and red eyes. As everyone who's there would just kind of look, like every guy who's there, especially Mayonetta, their heads and eyes would just slowly begin turning in her direction. Mayonetta would begin crying like, "That's what he meant when he gestured to the axe. He's taken." He would just fall over crying like, "His quirk comes with a beauty, my quirk comes with sticky balls. What a life! What a life!" Mayonetta would quickly get hit in the back of the head by Momo. As Deku would begin feeding as Deku would pick up the food with chopsticks, bring it to Arrogante's mouth, she would attempt to eat it, and she would eat it. It would go inside her mouth. No, don't take that out of context. Don't take that out of context. And she would eat it. tasty. As Deku would begin just casually feeding Arrogante and taking a few for himself, taking a few for Arrogante, Mayonetta and Denki are now, like, holding each other crying. Like, Kirishima's hardening, his fist is pumped up in the air. He's also crying, but not, like, upset, like, tears of manliness. Like, shit, I forgot her name. Give me a moment. Rico would not know how to feel because, like, first of all, she's actively watching the person who saved her feeding another woman, like, literally feeding another woman, but also at the same time, that woman is his quirk, so it's a mix of emotions. Dark Shadow is just kind of nudging Tokoyami, like, look, 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 they're kind of like us. Look, 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 Tokoyami! He would say, just like grabbing Tokoyami's face and looking him in the eyes, like, look at it, Tokoyami! As you can tell, I'm entering gremlin mode now. So, yeah. Just like, the guy's eyes are glued onto that. Monoma would, his hatred towards 1A would just kind of grow a bit, like, oh, so that's how you want to play it, eh? Before he would quickly be stopped by Kendo, like they already started this routine. Deku would just kind of look around and see majority of the guys in the class, not class, more so entire area, like cafeteria, just staring at him, as he would say, what, there's weirder quirks out there. I saw a guy with 3 lizard heads, for crying out loud. 3 lizard heads. He doesn't even walk, he levitates. He levitates like some kind of psychic squirrel lizard thing. Yes, he has a squirrel tail. It was one of the strangest and most surreal things I have ever seen. Like, we cut to like an office building somewhere randomly as a squirrel lizard hybrid with 3 lizard heads would just sneeze as the thing would say, I feel like someone's talking shit about me. Crap. At that statement, everyone in the cafeteria, all the guys, would just kind of slowly turn back. Their heads would slowly turn back to the original position their heads were in, but their eyes will just remain in the same spot. As Deku would reach inside of Arrogante, not that way, not that way. Get your brains out of the gut, it's like in the gut. In the gut. He would grab something as Arrogante would turn back into an axe, and he would yell, "You wanna fight?" As everyone would just their eyes would slowly turn back, as Deku would say, "Yeah, that's what I thought." Arrogante turning back into a regular axe, regular person, and just hugging Deku by the neck, like, "Oh, yeah. I can see someone cares a lot about me. Well, I care about you too, Izuku." Just getting all like, yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm currently going through a brain fart crash thing. But yeah, she's just nuzzling him, hugging him, as all the guys in the cafeteria would just slump over like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." Ida, Denki, Mayonetta, just like majority of the straight guys. Not all of the straight guys, because, Kirishima's a bro, and yeah, I have something planned for Kirishima later on, if I do a part 2. But just like, the pervy straight guys would all just clump together. Well, Ida isn't a pervy straight guy. He probably is straight, but he's not a pervy guy. So, yeah. But he's just with them, because it's like the Insulted by Deku fan club. Not fan club, the Insulted by Deku club. Sore spot club. They're all just kind of sulking together in the corner, as Momo would just say to Jiro. No, Jiro would say to Momo. Pathetic. Agreed. The two of them would just say, looking at the mass of disappointed men, as in the background, Deku's just feeding Arrogante, and she's like on cloud nine, flowers around her. She's like in that dreamy state. Anyway, yes, I'm ending this what if off here. This was fun. I've been trying to get to this for a few days now, but always failed. So I'm glad I finally managed to get to it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you next time. This was quite enjoyable. And goodbye, my lovely, lovely audience. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!